Witches are a unique breed of highly trained professional monster hunters with special mutagenic enhancements, granted to them by a ritual called the Trial of the Grasses. But the enhanced strength, speed and agility given by this ritual aren't the only supernatural weapons up these monster hunters' blood-soaked sleeves. They also learn to use Witcher signs, powerful yet simple magical tricks that can be used to cast a variety of offensive and defensive spells. And while you may be familiar with the well-known Aard, Igni and Quen, did you know that there are actually 9 of these magical signs used by the Witchers that we know of? So join me today, friends, as we take a look at these Witcher signs, who created them, and how they work. Essentially, these magical signs are an incredibly crude yet effective way of harnessing the chaotic magical energies that pollute the world of The Witcher. Magic was brought into the world by the conjunction of the spheres, a cataclysmic event that affected multiple separate realities, and trapped unnatural monstrous creatures and exiled humans within the world of The Witcher, which at that point was inhabited solely by non-human intelligent races, such as elves, dwarves, and gnomes. And upon its explosive birth into the world, magical energy began to permeate all aspects of nature. It is in the air and earth, and can be found within fire and water. And certain individuals show the inclination towards magic from a young age, and are able to reach out and draw magical power from these elements to cast spells. However, holders of sufficient magical ability are rare, and rarer yet were sources, individuals born with a vast and untamed magical power within them. Rather than draw from the magical sources found within natural elements, these people are essentially mediums or conduits for raw magical energy. So the rarity of magically attuned people is rather annoying when you're trying to make hardened monster slayers out of the magically untalented dregs of society, as the ability to harness the elements as a weapon would prove invaluable for taking down rampaging beasties. Even more frustratingly for the founders of the Witcher Order, the ability to draw magical energy from nature and turn it into powerful spells often required years of study, the memorization of magical formulas, intense concentration, and an exhausting expulsion of magical energy. All things witches do not have either the means or time for. So when the rulers of the Northern Kingdoms tasked their mages with creating the first witches, a little bit of cheating was required to grant them magical abilities. With the help of various sorcerers, crude witcher signs were created to give witches an edge in combat, exploration, and hunting. These signs, while simple and meagre compared to the power of a mage or druid, have a number of benefits for the witcher casting them. You see, while more powerful spells take intense concentration, as well as verbal and physical movement, which gives a monster plenty of time to go in for the kill, witcher signs simply require a little bit of concentration and a hand gesture to cast them, allowing a witcher to draw magical power from the elements to quickly cast a sign mid-combat with one hand, while still wielding their sword in the other. These signs also require minimal magical talent to cast, meaning they are easy to teach to students who dedicate the majority of their day to monster slaying rather than scholarly studies. To assist the witches further in casting the signs, their iconic medallions also serve as an arcane focus, helping a witcher to cast his signs. Without it, the less magically inclined witches would have a much greater difficulty with spells. In total, there were about 9 signs that we know of from the books and games, with the signs appearing in the books apparently slightly weaker than their game counterparts. These signs include Aard, a telekinetic or shockwave blast used to deflect projectiles and push back enemies. It channels the elemental energies of the air, as well as a previously unmentioned element known as mind, which essentially draws upon one's own intellect and energy as a source to cast a spell. To cast a sign, a witcher holds up a hand gesture involving the bending of their middle finger downwards. Igni was a sign that channeled its magical energy from the fire element, and it could be used to eject flames from the user's hand. It was used in the books for simpler non-combative means, like repairing metal items or burning rope. The hand gesture used to cast Igni involved the bending of the index finger and pinky finger. Axii is a water and mind-based spell used in the books most commonly by Geralt to calm his horse, Roach. The games take this further and sees Geralt use Axii to influence the emotions and minds of other people, either to stun them or convince them to reveal information. The hand motion for this sign involves the bending of the ring and pinky finger. Quen is an earth element spell that generates a protective shield around the form of the user. If the spell is upgraded, it can be expanded to form a bubble-like shield. Quen rarely appears in the Witcher novels, however, and when it does, it simply defends against sonic waves. To cast this spell, a Witcher makes a hand sign featuring the bending of the pinky finger. Yrden is a spell based off of another element separate from water, earth, air and fire. This element, called ether, hails from the ethereal plane and serves as the building blocks for souls and ethereal beings, such as banshees and wraiths. This sign can be used both as a protective ward and a trap. In the books, we see Geralt cast it on a sarcophagus he is hiding in, to prevent a Striga from opening it. Whilst in the games, we see the sign cast on the floor to act as a magical bear trap of sorts, which then slows down any enemies that pass through it and makes non-corporeal enemies vulnerable to physical blows. To cast this sign, the Witcher makes a hand gesture featuring outstretched fingers. Heliotrope is a sign which is often seen in the Witcher books, but mostly absent from the games. This sign gives the Witcher the power to protect against an incoming blow, be it physical or magical. The Quen sign sort of replaces the role of Heliotrope in most of the Witcher games. The only instance of Heliotrope in the games is in The Witcher 2, where when unlocked, it slows down nearby enemies instead of creating a barrier. The Somne sign has never appeared in the games, but does appear in the novel Season of Storms. This sign can be employed by a Witcher to induce a magical slumber in their target. Supirre is a sign drawn by a Witcher on a solid surface to enhance their hearing, allowing them to pick up distant or jumbled sounds. This technique is used in the Witcher books to eavesdrop on creatures and conversations. In the Gwent card game, the card for the Witcher Warrit, a blind member of the Witcher School of the Viper, mentions that he invented a modified version of Supirre that granted him echolocation abilities, similar to those of Daredevil. The final sign on this list doesn't actually have a name. The hate reflecting sign, as we'll call it, reflects an enemy or monster's hate, bloodlust, and hunger right back at them, forcing them to feel the fear they cause in others, and potentially even making them flee. This sign is used in the Witcher short story from the Last Wish novel, whilst Geralt is fighting against a Striga. And whilst yes, the signs we see in the video games are much more powerful than their book counterparts, all these signs serve as invaluable tools to help Witchers take on terrifying creatures, far too powerful for normal man. Which of these signs would you most like to use in real life? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you want more content like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on the next video. Thanks for watching, catch you next time.